We sure miss our dear friend Mark Pearson. He was a huge part of our fair coverage. Here he is in a big contest from 1994.
Here in the Kirkwood Community College swine farrowing exhibit, it's fun to see sows giving birth to little pigs. Now this pig here, he's got a little bit of age on him. He's about 35 pounds. It's hard to imagine how these little animals at the fair become great big animals, but that's exactly what happened. In the sheep barn last year, the state fair record was set in the big ram contest of 423 pounds. This year, there were 5 entries. Weighing in at 341 pounds and taking second place was Boot Scooter, shown by Jenny Gardner of Dowds, Iowa. But Craig Van Arkel took top honors, as he did in '93, this year with Max Van Arkel, a 2-year-old Suffolk weighing 434 pounds and setting a new state fair record. Here's the Iowa State Fair's largest ram, and it was grown by the Van Arkels from Grinnell. They're in the sheep business. What's the secret to growing a big ram?
I think it's just in the breeding. We've got bucks in the same pen that aren't anywhere near this big, so it's not the way they're fed. It has to be bloodline.
Is this the biggest one you've ever grown?
We had one last year weighed 423, but this one weighs 434, so he's a little bit bigger.
And here come the big bulls, always a popular part of the Iowa State Fair. And the big bull competition this year featured 8 big bull entries, and they were big. Gene Bedwell, I showed Gene's champion steer in the Governor's Steer Show back in about 1985. I know this guy knows big livestock. That steer I showed weighed over 1,400 pounds. This bull he's brought in today, wow, 2,900 pounds. That's a big bull to work with. Phil Cullen now coming in with a big Maine Anjou bull. Man, it is a monster. This bull's name is Bubba. And the winner is Bubba from Phil Cullen. That Maine Anjou bull weighed in at 3,140 pounds.
3,000!
Congratulations, Phil Cullen, with your champion. Biggest bull at the fair.
Thank you.
Now, tell us about this bull.
Well, he was a champion bull at the '89 Expo.
Oh, okay.
Grand champion Maine Anjou bull. I've owned him ever since. He's done me a lot of good, put a lot of meat in my calves. I really like him, and he's a gentle little bull. This year, I didn't use him much. I think I only used him 5 times this year. He's been a good bull.
This year in the swine barn, there were 7 big pigs vying for big boar honors. And in the third pen, this entry is Frostbite, a 3-year-old Hamp Duroc cross. And there is the champion boar, the biggest boar at the Iowa State Fair, and will be top dog, or top hog, if you will, for the coming week during Iowa State Fair activities. Tim D. from Baxter, owning Tarzan, and his son Travis, who has done so much of the work. This is probably the biggest crowd for a livestock show that we've had thus far during the fair. How do you explain that, Travis? People's
I don't
fascination.
know. I've been to a lot of shows down here, just regular breeder shows. Watch my dad used to show Chesters, Spots, and Durocs, and I don't know. People like to see big hogs, I guess. Something most of these people probably don't know what the average size hog is. And if they did that, they might even be more impressed, probably, because it takes a big pig to get that size.
Now to wrap up our big category, of course, the big horse. First up is Tom. He's owned by Ken Greiman from Garner, Iowa, and this is one big Belgian. Next we have our Percheron entry. This is Lewis. And now the light gray Percheron, or Percheron, as they call him. And this horse is named Fritz. And sure enough, the biggest horse is the big Belgian, and that is one big Belgian, weighing in at over 2,000 pounds. All right, now what's the fascination, you think, with the biggest horse? What do you think it just is?
I don't know, just a gimmick. Hey, Bob, cut it out. Just something, you know. As far as I'm concerned, I'd much rather have a 10 horse.
You would? You'd rather have a 10 horse?
18-hand 10 horse for my use myself, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Any day, yeah. He's much handier, and he won't eat much difference in feed, but as far as handling and quality around him. Whoa.
It's hard to explain our fascination with bigness here at the Iowa State Fair. I must admit, I'm not above it myself. I'm fascinated by bigness. And I've got an ego, and I'm proud to admit that having just weighed myself on the hog scales here in the swine barn, that I am public television's biggest host at the Iowa State Fair. Sorry, Morgan. From the swine barn, with all the big animals, I'm Mark Pearson.